is my daughter, and I guess she's just sitting in for a while. And we're gonna go ahead. I don't know who else is gonna jump on. I was expecting a few more people.
Yep.
We might get them after the press conference, and one guy is over the road, so we'll see how that works out. And but let me go ahead and jump into this. I want to talk to you guys very briefly about something that I've seen unfolding for the past at least 10 years. Everybody's aware of the election fiasco, and how it seems like there are a group of administrators or a group of bureaucrats that seem to be marching to a completely different tune. We first got to see it like when Trump took office, and we realized within the first week or so, there was a lady who declared that she wasn't going to follow Trump's directives. And eventually she ended up quitting. And then this seemed to be a trend all through the administration, where you have these rebellious, treasonous bureaucrats and state workers. And I began to wonder if these guys aren't following the chain of command, if they're not following the Constitution, if they're not following the leadership from the White House, who are they following? You know, and everybody's like, Obama, duh, you know? And
yeah, exactly.
it was the first couple of minutes, everybody's like, you know, or the first couple of months, they were talking about the shadow presidency that he was running and how he set up a bunker right down the street from the White House, and he never let, I mean, if you followed this thing, you would have seen that. But in truth, there is a lot of truth to that, but there's another layer that many of you guys have already know about, but it's not the knowledge of it that's really important. It's understanding how it's being implemented, and more importantly, how we can actually fight back, because there's an issue that's at stake right now, and nobody is talking about it. Nobody has been talking about it. Well, the exception of little old me. No, no, there's some people that have been talking about it, but I'm really bringing issue to this, because the bottom line is this: Trump is stopping globalism. He stopped it dead in his track, and in doing so, he has become the enemy of every country that is signed up for this globalist new world order.
Right.
However, the question becomes, what happens after Trump? For the first time, literally, we were faced with that question to seriously think about it yesterday, or the day before yesterday during the elections. I've been thinking about it since midterms. What happens after Trump? What I have found just from watching conservatives over the last couple of years, I've actually peeked my head out and started to get to know conservatives, and I'm deeply concerned, because we love the principles of conservatism, but we're not living them. We're not actually living constitutional lives. And what I mean by that is the Constitution is designed for a self-governing, sovereign people. Our system of government is set up where it reflects the needs and the will of the people, the citizens. So ultimately, all of the power resides within the citizenry. Now, what has happened is through convenience and political complications and expanding bureaucracy and multiple crashes, we have abdicated or given a lot of our power over to government just as a matter of convenience. And it seems like both government and people have forgotten that we're not here to serve the government. The government is here to serve us. And so even as we're facing a situation right now with the election, even as we're facing a situation right now with the FBI, we tend to always go and ask permission of the government to fly right. You know, we tend to go and ask for permission of the government or for solutions from the government. This is not the way that this should work. And I say this is a particular danger, not just for the sovereignty of our nation, but for our individual sovereignty. I'm going to point to something really, really quickly that I was looking at earlier this week. And let me see if I can share the right screen. Forgive me for a second, because I may have to turn your thing with me or just give you a URL.
Yeah, that's fine.
I have Jacqueline is with us on FaceTime. So let's see here. Give me just a second. Okay. Come on. Share with you, baby. All right, can you guys see my Facebook page?
Yep.
Okay, good. Let's share it in the chat. All right. So I don't know if you guys can see this. The agenda for sustainable development web PDF.
Oh God. Yeah.
All right. So what this document is, this is a 2015 document that's put up. We've heard a lot about this, but to be honest, I never took the time to actually read it. This is.
That's a scary title.
Agenda 2030. There it is. It was 2021, and now it's this.
And it was originally Agenda 21. Yes, exactly. And so, but these people have never given up. This was actually, this version or model was actually written in 2015, and it came from another organization that was prior to that. And so when I started reading through it, checking out the preamble, checking out what they want to do and why, what this really is, the United Nations, these people are committed to bringing global socialism. Global socialism. And what I want to talk to you guys about is where that stops. Because I'm telling you, I don't care what the government does. Socialism stops at my front door.
Yep.
I will never, ever, ever, I will never surrender my individual sovereignty. God gave me that. He gave me a mind to use and a mind to decide for what it is that I would do with my life. Thank God the Constitution honors that and has put it in law and put a structure around it. But even if the Constitution didn't, I would never be a slave or be a cattle for another person. Never. And I would never acknowledge or respond to a government that did that. So what happened?
You have the original Constitution.
Pardon?
I said you have the original Constitution.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
What is the name of the document?
The name of the document is, oh, I'm sorry, you can't see. It's Transforming Our World. It's the United Nations Transforming Our World, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And if you type that in, it's sustainabledevelopment.un.org.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. What I would honestly suggest is that you guys take a perusal of this, because what you will begin to realize when you read this is that these bureaucrats that I was talking about earlier that all seem to be marching to a different tune, they're not following Obama. They're following this.
Yep.
Our world leaders, or not our world leaders, our leaders, Clinton, Obama, Bush, they signed on to a global governance system without asking you, without asking how you felt about it. They signed on for these noble sounding goals. It sounds literally like a page out of the Democrat platform, literally. Yep. And the thing is, what they never talk about is how these things are actually going to be implemented, because they start talking about our citizens, our people. They're people in Brussels talking about people in my community as their people. I never agreed to be governed by them. I never
will.
I never agreed to give my assets, my business to them. I never agreed to any of that. They never even thought it was proper to ask. And so what it is that I'm asking or I'm bringing to light is what we need to do beyond Trump. Trump represents our government, and he's pulling to get our government back into line with the Constitution. I'm pulling to get Americans back in line with the Constitution, because our government doesn't work if we don't become self-governing ourselves, if we don't become self-reliant, and if we don't start exercising the powers which are in our Constitution. Now, when I made a post earlier this week, and I've made several about this local meat club. Actually, a few of you guys are members, and I thank you. And I'll be sending you guys out new contracts because we just changed the structure of the local meat club, and it's so much better, so much more protection. And after I finish talking with all the lawyers, and that's another thing, I tend to do business and then get certified later. I have to find out if there's money there. So it's something I share all the time, but it's neither here nor there. The point is this: what it is that I actually found. I've been studying since the pandemic started. let me back up. When the pandemic started, you guys, if you're my friends on Facebook or if I've talked to you, I talked about that there was going to be meat shortages and price hikes. And I said, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start selling some of our beef and pork that we have in our own herd. And we're going to make it available because I don't know how long it's going to last, but there are going to be meat shortages. What happened that first week of the pandemic? There were meat shortages everywhere. Did you guys see those where you live?
Yep.
I
Aside from,
heard it talked about.
pardon?
I heard it talked about.
Oh, you didn't see it personally?
I didn't experience it, no.
Okay. Yeah, there were Walmart dry, a lot of the grocery stores dry. There were some places, smaller places, that were able to keep some in storage, but by and large, they shut off the spigot. And that's what I want to talk to you about. Being in business, and I have the unique pleasure, privilege, whatever you want to call it, hell, of having worked at every level of the food system. So I've raised food, I've processed food, I've made food, I've sold it on carts, I've sold it to stores, I've wholesaled it. And these are our own products that we've produced. I've operated on every stage. So I understood how the system works together in order to distribute or to move stuff from one place to another. When I saw this pandemic, I saw the complete collapse of the food system simply because overnight there were no customers. People invested a huge amount of money in raising beef and pork in order to have it available just in time for when customers needed it. If the customers didn't have it, there was no way to recoup all that money that they invested. Cows were still unpastured that had to be fed. And so they were losing money. It was just an absolute mess. But what I want to point to is this. Over the past 10 years, I have watched as the food industry, specifically the meat industry, has been consolidated. A lot of the major pack houses, there's roughly 4 pack houses in 4 companies that own like 80 or 90% of the pack houses in America. And what a pack house is if you have cattle or livestock or anything like that, when you go to get it processed or slaughtered to turn a cow into a steak, it goes to a slaughterhouse. And they kill the animal and then hang the animal and then process it to make steaks. They have to do this in order for the food to enter into the public supply chain. So you just can't have a cow and kill the cow yourself and then sell it at a store. It has to go through a state sanctioned facility.
Licensed.
Exactly, a state licensed facility or a USDA licensed facility. These are the packing houses. Over time, all of the smaller guys that used to service the rural communities and the farmers, a lot of them have been bought out. And now many of the farmers, especially the large ones, send their animals to these huge, like assembly line facilities. There's the ones that you always see with like 100 carcasses hanging, moving, and they look like death camps. And so there's one I think in Southern Illinois. And so the point is this: who are the people that own these packing houses? These people that own the pack houses are multinational. They're globalists. They're global companies. And they are committed to this UN Agenda 21. Who are the people that are selling you your food? The Walmarts, the Tysons, the McDonald's. All of these companies are multinational globalist companies. They are people that have already signed on with this Agenda 2030. This is why all of a sudden when Black Lives Matter popped up, they were all donating to it, even though it represented a national security issue. Let me pull up, because there's a specific line in here. One of their goals is to actually address social inequality.
Yeah, with forced equity, as per Kamala.
Exactly. I talked about stakeholder. They're literally trying to redefine what capitalism is. Really, they're just using capitalism-like language. But people that understand what capitalism is understand that there's no such thing as a stakeholder in a company that hasn't put up money. No such thing. See, what they're trying to do, like right now, if you were to start a company in America or anywhere in the world, you have people who are shareholders. They're people that either invest money or some other form of equity into a business in order for the business to start. That money that they invested entitles them to shares. Those shares entitle them to ownership of the company and a piece of the profits. That is the only way it works. What socialists are trying to do in talking to people who are ignorant, who've never started anything, what they're trying to do is say
You're
that instead of
entitled.
shareholders, what were you saying?
Yeah, you're entitled to a stake simply by existing.
Exactly. Or not only existing, but being anywhere within the vicinity of being affected by the corporation. So instead of shareholders, which actually give something to the corporation in order for it to exist, now they're saying that anyone who is affected by the corporation in any way now has a say in the corporation's activities and is entitled to also its profits. So this word stakeholder, when you see that word anywhere, run. You know that you're dealing with you know that you're dealing with socialists, and you know that these socialists are trying to destroy private equity or private property. They're trying to literally enslave the people who have put up money and other forms of equity in order to start a corporation. Run from them. They're socialists. Now, I say all of that simply to say this. Many of the largest businesses that we have are already in line with these socialists. The only reason they're pushing socialism is because they want to be what is called an oligarch. Are you guys familiar with an oligarch?
Oh, yeah.
Oligarchy?
Yes,
Yes. So
Common in Eastern Europe.
the ruler.
what do you say?
Common in Eastern Europe.
Yes, yes. So essentially, just for the benefit of all, so we're on the same page, there are different forms of government. You have monarchy, you have democracy, you have oligarchy. A monarchy is when one king rules. When people hate the monarchy, they call it tyranny. They call him a tyrant. So like an oligarchy is when you have a handful of people that rule, or a ruling class. Democracy is generally when you have everyone equally participating in rulership. So this oligarchy is when you have, it's also technocracy is a form of oligarchy, but when you have these people, a handful of selected people, like the Facebook CEOs, the political class, the bankers, they're running the entire world. The reason they're promoting this socialism, which is naturally destructive to their company, is because they believe that instead of just having a piece of the economy, they will have a protected status in the entire economy. What a lot of people don't understand is that socialism is good business for those that are chosen for monopolies, and they're hoping for a monopoly. So we need to come to understand this. And the second thing we need to understand is that we need to start taking our own private homes as sacred and standing on the Constitution. Let the government fight the Constitution. But the Constitution was actually erected. It was created for our benefit and to help to preserve our own natural
Rights. Yep.
our own natural rights. And so I said all of that to lay the groundwork for what I'm actually doing. When you guys get a chance, please take a look at this. It's 40 something pages, I think. It's not too long. And I mean, I won't read it all in one sitting, and I like to read. It just makes me I can't read socialism for too long. I start getting the heebie-jeebies. But
Yep.
read it, and
But
you
it's
will start
important.
you will start to see where it is that we're going, where it is that we're trying to be forced by our own government. And you will also start to understand how important it is for you to plant stakes in the Constitution and stand there. What I'm about to show you now is where I am planting stakes and where I want you guys to stand with me. I don't ever, let me see here, desktop. I don't ever just say something to say something. I'm not on Facebook to socialize. I don't need more friends. Like, I've lived perfectly well. I have a beautiful wife, 4 little kids that never allow me any peace and quiet. I don't need more activity in my life. It's always nice to meet nice people, but I don't need it. People, they have their own issues, and God knows I have mine. But the thing is, I realize that there's a lot of people who've never built anything for themselves. Their whole life has been getting up and going to work and taking whatever it is that they're handed, taking whatever it is that they're told at face value, and trying to do the best that they can. There's nothing wrong with that. But we're at a place now where all you can rely on is your own knowledge. All you can rely on is what you know that you know that you know that you know. For example, when Walmart, when they said Facebook face mask were mandatory, I said this sounds unconstitutional, and I immediately started a course of action to investigate that personally because I knew it sounded unconstitutional. What would have happened if I never knew it sounded unconstitutional? I would have been in there just like everybody else with a mask trying to justify. And the point is how people are giving up their freedom so easily and so unnecessarily is evidence that we don't know our Constitution in any practical way. And so what it is that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create a balance. Can you guys see this? We are a private membership association, grass-fed, ground beef. You see that? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I never say something without being willing to put my money where my mouth is, or my life. I put my neck on things. So if I tell you something or I type something, see my head laying there. Occasionally I've lost my head and I've been wrong before. I'm not gonna lie. But the thing is, I'm fully wrong if I'm wrong, and I'm fully committed in accepting the consequences for being wrong. When the government shut down commerce, not just in America, but when they shut it down worldwide, do you guys know who made that call?
No, sir.
No. The WHO made the call for governments to order their citizens to to shelter in place, to shut down commerce. I was looking at their timeline, and I think they fudged a bit of it. But the truth is, our government was instructed on how to deal with this virus by the World Health Organization. My question is, we have embassies all around the world. We have a direct relationship with China. Why is it that we had to go through a third-party organization, a part of the UN, the global organization, in order to get information and advice about this virus? We literally subjected our own judgment to a world organization, and this is exactly what, if you read that document, what they're trying to do. They don't try to steal your sovereignty directly. But what they do is act as counsel to the people who are making decisions. So they never have to address the individual people. And I only say that because if you look back on this agency, it will show the need for what I'm about to show you with this local meat club. So you have this chain of events. The World Health Organization says there's a virus coming out of China. And they said, shut down your economy. The government then took their information and said, whoa, there's a virus coming out of the economy. We better shut down our own economy. Why? Because the WHO said so, and they're the authoritative force on this. And then the state said, whoa, there's a virus coming out of China, and we better shut down our own economy because the federal government said so. And then you have the local government saying, wow, there's a virus coming out of China. After this whole thing, you have this chain of command that's coming through the government. But never did they ask you. I was a business owner, and they told me to stop operations. I said, kick rocks, Doc.
Yeah.
I literally said, make me. I started a business during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So the point is, what empowered me to do that? And that same fighting spirit. And I can't show you my pants, but I want to see Trump's balls one day. I want to compare. I was like, you can talk a big talk with $1 billion. I want to see how your talk is with $14.99.
True story.
And so the whole point is, I started this organization, and if you guys, I think John was with me at the beginning. Are you still there, John?
Me, John? Which John?
Oh, John, press.
Presball.
Yeah,
I'm here, buddy. I'm here. Just call John P. That's good enough.
Okay, John P. I think John P was with me and Rose was with me at or very near the beginning when I launched the local meat club. And the one thing that I told them was that we're buying cows and we want to sell it. We want to see if this thing goes. But the biggest thing is to develop a workaround for the government. I was like, I know there is a way where I can remove meat from government regulation where it never enters the chain of command. And I said, I'm going to figure out how to do that. In the meantime, buy a couple of steaks. and so I sold the meat that I processed. And then I started to contact lawyers and started to consult laws and the Constitution. And I actually came up with this. It's a private membership association. It actually relies almost exclusively on the freedom of association, which is guaranteed by the Constitution. But it's also backed up by like the 9th Amendment, the 5th Amendment, the 15th Amendment, and or the 19th Amendment, excuse me. And what it is an agreement between individuals. And it says that the government cannot, let me back up just a second. There is a public domain and a private domain, all right? Public and private. The government gets involved with your life. They always say that they're protecting the public welfare, the public safety, the public good is true. Any person who does not have privacy on their mind is a part of the public. If you're going out and buy things from the store, you're offering a public service. And so the government regulates to make sure that individuals don't go into the store and they're not harmed, okay? So, but there is a private transaction, which the government does not have the right to actually regulate. And so I say that because a lot of this knowledge has been, I'm not going to say fundamentally lost. There's plenty of private membership associations. There's plenty of them out there. There's just not that many with food. People exercise private membership associations with healthcare. They exercise it with law. They exercise it with direct medical care, with herbs. There are some food association, but not many. But the point that I'm making is this: the freedom of associate is protected by the Constitution. In the 50s, there were quite a few lawsuits challenging it, and it has never been overturned by the Constitution. So we established this as a structure for the local meat club. And then inside of that structure, what we allowed the members of this membership association to do is to actually own the herd of cattle. So if you join the local meat club, you actually now own the beef that you're eating. You own the milk that you're drinking. You own the bacon that you're eating or sausage that you're eating. And what this does is removes the need for government to come in and to regulate. And so what that essentially means, the government has laws, and I can't get into it too much here. Like, if you want to know about that, you can contact me a little bit later. But the government has laws where they say if you own an animal, the government does not have the right to come in and regulate that animal slaughter or processing at all. It's kind of like, imagine if you raised your own pig in the backyard. You know, you own the pig and you said, I want bacon one day. And you said, I got Wilbur here, and Wilbur's gonna be good breakfast one day. If you raise that pig and if you're gonna eat that pig, you can slaughter that pig and eat it. The government, you don't have to take it to any kind of license place in order to do it. You can if you want to, and we still do, but you don't have to. And the government cannot regulate it. So what we did was actually took that same principle, that same part of the code, and we expanded it. So we have what's called joint ownership, or like a herd share system. So everybody in our membership owns every bit of our calves, every bit of our cows, every bit of the dairy cows, every bit of the hogs. So when you go to the local meat club, you sign up and you pay for a membership, you have direct access to the food. You don't have to go through a store. You don't have to go through a broker. You don't have to go through all of these people, or even the farmer, because we hire a farmer to care for our beef. So I found this system, and the main drive for it was I saw that during the pandemic, that they were able to shut down grocery stores. They were able to shut down restaurants. They were able to shut down everything because everybody was dealing with the public good. Everybody was dealing on the public domain. And I said, what if I just created an opportunity for people to own their own meat, to own their own food and have food security? If they shut down it again, if we have a second pandemic or third pandemic or whatever, even if government dissolves, you'll still be able to feed yourself. I mean, I don't think you guys realize, but we're in a national emergency still. And if President Trump wanted to, Obama actually signed an executive order for national emergencies that allows him to confiscate all the assets in the private industry or in the public that are offering all the corporate entities. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So if you have a business like the Good Frank, what we have, technically President Trump could come in and order for me to surrender the Good Frank, and he could take my sausage stuffers and my freezers and enlist them into the service of the government. You guys didn't know that, did you?
Sounds unconstitutional.
It is,
That
but
doesn't stop anybody.
No, it
Pardon?
doesn't.
Yeah,
So that doesn't seem to stop anybody lately.
right.
No, but I mean, if you think about it, remember during the pandemic, he did that. He ordered a couple of companies to retool to start making
Yep.
to make
Ventilators.
vaccines. They didn't have a choice in the matter. You see, and so the
I mean,
thing
that's
is,
in the Bill of Rights. That's right in one of the first 10 amendments. Is
you
protection
you cannot take something without due process.
and
Right, that's the
proper
Fifth Amendment.
compensation. Yeah.
And so, but the thing is, it happened, and it happened because of this combination of a national emergency plus this executive order where government granted to itself the ability. And
These national emergencies are the biggest con we have.
exactly. So the question then becomes, what right? They don't have the right to take property from you. Follow this. They don't have the right to take property from you, but they do have the right to take property from a government created or sanctioned organization. Because when you form a corporation or when you form a business, you're actually going to them for permission to exist in the public sector. And so that submits you under their laws,
Right.
if that makes any sense.
It does make sense.
And so the thing is, just like, for example, when people signed up for a health permit, they had to abide by the health permit. And the health permit is what forced restrictions on them for the coronavirus. And so, because the first thing they said is, if you don't obey, we're going to yank your permit and you won't be able to operate. And so this whole situation where instead of relying on the permit to do business, we're relying on the Constitution, it short circuits that whole situation. What they would have to do is come in and literally divest us or to take personal property, which any constitutional lawyer would have a field day with that lawsuit.
Yeah, direct violation of the 9th Amendment.
Exactly.
Right there.
Right,
Number 5.
exactly. And so the question is, the reason I called this was because this is not about Trump. This is not even about our government. What is happening is we have a globalist force that is literally coordinating with countries all around the world to impose upon your sovereignty and impose upon your national sovereignty. And the real danger is most of our supply lines are so interconnected that, let's say, if they cut off, we have a lot of rare earth metals that are coming out of China. Even though we're energy independent, we're not earth metals independent. We're not independent on, like, a lot of you guys like soy or this or that. And the thing is, if they shut it down at the source, it cripples what we can actually get here. And even with the food supply, a lot of people don't realize they're raising beef here and shipping it overseas to get processed.
Right.
And then bringing it back. And these companies, because they're not exclusive to the United States, they have no loyalty here. Just like when the pandemic happened, what did the meat packers do? They lied and said that everybody caught corona, and they shut down. I mean, demonstrable lie. And so, but that's what will happen. The bottom line is, if the government creates a situation where it's difficult or nigh impossible to do business, you won't be able to feed yourself or your family. And I'm not one to, like, stoke fear or anything like that, but that is the reality of it. And I've considered what we're doing, and we're offering it, one, because we need to grow the system and let Americans know that they do have an option. they do have a pathway to start to secure different areas of their life. Even the platform of the private membership association, it's not just for food. You can form one of these for arms. You can form one as a knitting
Weapons.
club. You can form one to start providing babysitting services and start literally providing these services for people in your community and going around the whole licensing process. And then stand there and dare them to say something. Because the Ninth Amendment actually is, a lot of people, nobody talks about the Ninth Amendment, but the Ninth Amendment guarantees that whatever rights are not enumerated, specifically given to the government, they belong to the people.
Yeah, it's kind of vague. It says the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people.
So what, the only reason that's vague is because you're kind of coming to it blindsided. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
What it means. So let's just jump real quick. Constitution. Did you hear what she said?
Yep, I got it in front of me.
She read the article. And so, or the amendment. So what happens is this. The Constitution is what they call a document of negative rights. What it means is that the Constitution is set up to tell the government what it cannot do.
Right.
And so it doesn't tell, what the government always tries to flip it around and say what powers that they do have, but the Constitution actually establishes what powers they don't have. And so what happens is, when the Constitution says, you know, you shall not infringe the right of you shan't take private property without due process, it's putting restrictions on the government. Now, because they're enumerated, which means because all the restrictions that the government has are listed in the Constitution, it's saying that it cannot, that list cannot be construed to be exclusive. So what that means is that if all the freedoms that the American people have are not limited by what's on that list. So anything that's not on that list is automatically assumed to rest with the people. So what it means is, if the government is not told that the government has the power to do X, Y, and Z, then that power automatically lies with the people. It's a freedom that lies with the people, that the government cannot create a restriction for the people. And so what it means is, like, essentially the right to homeschool, that's not in the Constitution. But because the Constitution does not give the government the absolute right to dictate education, then homeschooling is covered under the Constitution. It automatically defaults back to the rights to the people. And so that kind of, it makes sure that government doesn't start creating new roles just because time goes on, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's our Constitution is so brilliant. It is so brilliant. And so the whole point, I forgot why I jumped on that. I know you asked a question. You were just reading it and saying it's vague.
Yeah.
It is vague, but it's vague for that reason, because the Constitution is specific. And so it wants to catch anything that the Constitution didn't list matter-of-factly.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so that's the rule. If you guys get a chance, look up private membership associations, look up how they've been used in the past. And their track record in court is absolutely amazing. People don't even challenge them anymore. They haven't been overturned. I mean, simply because the groundwork is constitutional. It's really just on your face constitutional. So we're building this and putting it together, and we're giving people the opportunity to participate. This is more than about just having grass-fed. Rose, we dropped the prices too. So we have grass-fed ground beef, $4.85 a pound, and this is wow, yeah. This is yeah. John, yeah. I meant to actually send you a note because I haven't heard from you.
Yeah.
So we have.
I think you just got another customer.
Hey, yeah, that's what we hope. We got a lot of stuff to pay for, but we want to really pass on the savings. We've been chopping prices left and right, chopping costs left and right, and we want this to be a good a good thing to make it comparable. We want to make it a better deal than going to the grocery store, especially if you have to wait 2 days to get it, you know. But we need to make money. We need to expand because we need to reach more people. I mean, that's just the bottom line. Because think about it. We're hiring a farmer to raise our beef. Do you know how many farmers are actually enslaved to the agricultural system right now?
Probably most.
And if they were dealing with the agricultural system during this pandemic, many of them lost their shirts. Because remember, when the customers dried up, that means the orders from the meat packers dried up.
Yep.
They probably lost money from their herd. And so the thing is, we need to get away from that system as much as possible. We just lost somebody. Somebody trying to jump on. So we need to get
Tyrone, I've got like 3% battery left.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I'm gonna have to find myself a plug-in.
Okay, if you don't
jump
find
off
a
too, but-
plug-in, please visit localmeatclub.com and sign
Oh,
up.
I've ordered.
Oh, yes. Okay, great. So good. And for everyone else too, write that down, put it in your browser. We're going to be bringing in a lot more inventory. We're going to be bringing in, I think, 1,600 pounds on Saturday of steaks and ground, and we have bacon and pork chops, and we're going to be doing unpasteurized milk for those that drink that, or like, and butter. And so we'll be updating here in the next little bit. But get on. Let people know that this thing exists. Share it. We ship out to California. We just dropped the prices to everything out there because we were able to buy some like really innovative shipping packages. And so let people know, because people need to understand, one, that they can get better food quality products at better prices, but also that there is an organization and a business that's standing on the Constitution and that's fighting for people to have their own sovereignty. I mean, trust me, I ate a bacon and egg sandwich, and everything there came from the farm. There is no, and John, you know this, there's no feeling like that, to know that you own what you just consumed. You didn't have to go to anybody for it. It is something that you really cannot understand America until you own something.
That's the whole idea. That's literally the whole thing. I'm going to write a piece about that.
Exactly. And the thing is, you don't have to jump into like, oh, hey, beautiful. There she is.
Hi.
And I mean, look, we have a little dumpy townhome. And I mean, it's 6 of us here, a little 3-bedroom. And I mean, it's a small place. But the thing is, it is allowed us to own something. It has allowed us to invest in ourselves and in our future. And if we can do it, like with $14.99, anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. There is really no excuse except tolerated ignorance. And
I got a question.
Sure.
I got a question for you. How are you dealing with shipping and all of the issues that the USPS has been dealing with?
Free market. We don't use USPS anymore.
Thank God, yeah.
We use Post UPS.
Okay.
And we've been having much better success with them.
Okay.
During the heart of the pandemic, we were experiencing occasional delays, but the last couple months we haven't had any problem.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I've just switched over to them as well.
Yeah, USPS is an abomination.
Yeah, like most things the government does.
Yep.
And I worked for them. I mean,
Yeah.
at first their prices were just unbeatable, but the thing is, your product never arrived.
The service. Oh, the service.
I mean, there was probably a 51st state, but it sent its charter through the USPS.
Yeah. Oopsie daisy.
Yeah. So the thing is, I really want you guys to share. And if you guys get an order, and I'll throw some extra stuff in for you guys. And we're going to be pushing. We're going to be here this coming week. We have some little flyers supporting Trump, and with our 45 steak frank, and
Oh, cute.
and we've been doing classes on Thursday to actually show people how to actually get involved with entrepreneurship, especially if they don't have much capital or any experience. You know, we're not rich, but we've been self-sustained the majority of the 10 or 15 years that we've been in business for ourselves. And it's and to be honest,
that's the American dream right there.
well, part of it. It's weird because we've actually built out this food system a little bit at a time doing research, but we did it in such a way where we had to make money. We could not run deficits. So it forced us to create different structures and different ways to go about it. And so we self-financed everything. We're just now moving to the point where we're actually confident in what we're doing and we're ready to expand. And so I'm really excited for this coming year because we're going to put everything, she's dancing, we're going to put everything that we've learned over the years together. And we're going to start working with people. I mean, it's weird. It's just a part of my nature. If ever I'm quiet, if ever you don't see me typing or sharing something, I'm putting together something. And it's just the way it goes. We have been quiet we started working on a hot dog. Our first hot dog cart that we ever owned and operated was in December 2005. December 2005, we ran our first hot dog stand. And we grew that to 3 or 4 hot dog stands and catering and learned all this stuff. And then we started all over and did something else. And we built again. And then when we got ready to go out, we were attacked by leftists and we had to start all over. I mean, from ground zero. We had a little bit of savings, but man, from ground zero. And that's when we started to learn, we started to meet conservatives. And many of you guys, we met you shortly after that period. And so we've built an internet business and went through the shipping nightmare and all this other stuff and marketing and delivering stuff all over the country. People were like, you guys are always gone. I was like, we got to run a business. We got to drop stuff off. You know, it's like if UPS doesn't deliver, we got to. I mean, this is our reputation. And so, but now we're opening up our first Texas reshipping center and getting that model together so we can lower our prices even more. And we'll be looking to work out on the West Coast to repeat the process. But the point that I'm making is this: anyone can do this, but you have to have a different set, a different worldview, a different perspective. And it always is helpful to start from the spirit, the first thing, and then also from the Constitution. So you have 1 foot in the spirit and 1 foot on the Constitution. If you do that, there's nothing you can't do in this country. And we're just helping people to remember that, because so many of us have forgotten. So many of us, we believe that working is the only way that we can get get the things that we want done. And we become slaves to our employers or our professions. And this is not the way that we can live. It's not life supporting. And so
not what God has called us to.
No, not at all. It's not even what we would call to ourselves if we had the choice. And so the thing is, we have to develop an inner harmony. And that's why we talk so much about spirituality, because some people, I'm surprised they actually make it out the door. They have so much crap going on in their head, you know? And I mean, yeah, just they fight with their kids, they fight with the husband, fight with the job, fight with themselves, fight with their past, fight with their parents.
Fight with the weather.
And yeah, fight with the weather. And, yeah. And so the thing is, like, you can't do anything like that. And so we always start from the beginning because we've been through it. And we're mostly the thing that's standing in our own way. So again, on Thursdays, this is our normal Thursday thing. We talk about this kind of stuff, spirituality, how to build a business structure, how to walk into business, how to back into profit, how to get going from right where you are, how to deal with your children. Like if you have little ones, I know you have little ones, how to walk into entrepreneurship to show them how to understand America from an ownership perspective.
That one right there, she's doing good things.
Yes. Jacqueline is awesome. So that's the majority of what I want to say. Oh, let me be correct here. If you guys haven't had the opportunity, please visit Local Meat Club and go right to become a member. You can read all the stuff on there. And if you have any questions, do hit me up. Send me a message. through the site, and I'll get right to you, and I'll give you my number and everything. You can call me. In fact, you guys got a pen? I'll give you my number now.
Yes.
I'm going to need to buy a little freezer for the garage.
Hey. Hey.
I have no room in the freezer that's in the fridge.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah,
Everybody
Tyrone,
okay?
that's why you haven't heard from us. We've got no freezer
Yeah,
space. I
we're
just think
dying.
we all need to go into a freezer company next.
Yeah.
I hear you. It was a point. I have, I think, 4 or 5 freezers here. But it was a point where I couldn't find a freezer anywhere in America, you know?
Yeah, that's the same thing with us. For like a chunk of 3 months, there were no freezers to be had.
And so
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
I was
scary.
like, freezer, come on home with me. Here you go, little baby. Let me show you the little cook.
That's right.
So
we could do like a herd share with the freezer. You know, we could like
Yeah.
rent space out in the freezer for
good
people.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah. There's something going on up there.
Herd share
Just a hat rack there, fella.
freezer.
Okay,
Yeah.
fire time.
We're planning on buying a place this year. Get some land, and we'll probably do that. Get a good walk in, and we'll.
Cool.
I mean, we're all for friends. We'll do anything. So my number is 615-972-6261. I guess really the only person that doesn't have it is John. I think everybody else has my number. No, John S.
Yes, Strand.
John Strand.
Strand man.
You should have my number, John P.
Yes.
972-62.
61.
Is John Strand on Instagram?
John,
Yep.
you are on Instagram, aren't you?
At John Strand. Yep.
At John Strand. He's a model too.
I can tell.
Easy there.
Tyrone,
Yes.
Tyrone, I have
Yeah.
a question for you.
Yes, Rose.
So have you switched over so that new members can do $99 a year instead of on a monthly payment?
Yes.
Okay, because I think that's easier. It's just some people like to just, I know I like to just pay. I know I'm on a monthly, but like if Marisa or Sherry want to join,
Yes, they can do that right now. And,
$99 a year.
yeah, and I'm gonna send you the contract on over. So because there's a change in the actual structure, and so for all of our existing members, we're gonna go ahead and send them the paperwork to jump onto this system. Some have already paid $99. Some, like you, are in the monthly process, and so we'll work that out to establish the legal framework. But yes, you can.
Could I just do like a new one, like going from now and say 99 for the next year?
Yeah, absolutely. No. It's not for the next year. It's a lifetime.
Oh, for a lifetime.
There's no
That's right.
renewal. That's the other thing. It's a one-time. I wanted to make it more affordable because there's some people. I'm always thinking about. Marcella and I are the kind of guinea pigs. We have 4 kids, one income, and essentially one income in a business, and we're kind of very frugal. So we want this to be approachable for anyone. That's why we had, like, even with the $99, we broke it down into 12 payments of like $12. So anybody can get in. And yes, there's a $3 register fee per month, and that's it. So, hey, who's that? Evan?
Sweet.
Oh, you want to jump in and say hi?
Hi.
Hi, Evan.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Evan.
Oh, and there's Eva.
Holy monkeys, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
watch
the
out
top
if you have
of
a
'em.
beautiful wife. These things tend to happen.
Yeah, dang.
Yeah.
That's what goes on.
Yeah.
You do a snippy.
Oh, I've already
Oh,
done
yeah,
that.
he's already fixed.
That was my first trip to
Yes, he
Texas.
was.
Yes.
That's the boy.
I was like, cut it down.
Yeah, they give him away down there. I mean,
Because
Knock that down.
wives get tired.
Oh yeah.
yes.
So yes, you can do the $99. The way it works is it's a one-time $99 fee. That's for a lifetime membership, as long as the private membership association is active. Then you will have membership. You will always be able to order. There is the monthly installment, which is $12 a month for 12 months. And that is the reason it's more is because it's including the $3 register fee. So like when you guys join for the 99, it'll be one time, but it'll be $3 a month to keep your membership, just to care for the cattle. And so we'll contract separately for that. So all of you got, like, for John P, we'll send you over the next day or so. We're going to send you another contract to bring you into
That
the
works.
with the already, because I think you pay for the annual
Yep.
fee. So we'll
One
just
shot deal.
convert you
Yep.
right over, so we don't have to pay anything else except the $3.
All right.
And
Sweet.
yeah.
Tyrone, okay, so another question. Did you get to talk to Dave Carroll? Red
No,
State?
not yet. Not yet.
Did he reach out to you? Did he connect with you?
Not that I'm aware of. I'll check my email and my junk folder, but not that I'm aware of. But I did check out his site and what he was doing. It seemed pretty interesting.
Yeah, and because I'm thinking, I mean, he's got to buy, like I had that conversation, he's got to buy all this, pork, right? Or beef and pork. And
The only thing is, remember, I was talking about the private and the public domain, that there's a difference. So his business is in the public domain. So all of his meat has to come through the public domain system. So it either has to be USDA. If it's coming from Ohio, it has to be USDA in order to travel interstate for business. If it's coming from, I think he's in Kentucky or something like that. If it's in Kentucky, it has to be state licensed. And so for us to supply him commercially, we would have to set up something different. And that's not a problem. It's just whether it'll be worth doing it at this time. But for personal, he can sign up as an individual person. But I would not recommend that he use this thing that we're doing for his business. Even like what we're doing for our sausage business, it is a separate business entity. So yeah, and that's the thing. We can't. It's not a public business. It's not like a public storefront. It's going to be a members only. So if you're not a member, you're not getting meat. It's just that simple, because we don't want to be construed as selling to the public.
You don't want to be cause our government regulations.
Yeah, because it will cause our whole structure to fall apart, and it'll introduce us to liability. So that's the thing. I'll talk with him, just because we're all about creating systems, natural, organic meat, grass-fed, and we have people in Kentucky that want to actually license our concept, our hot dog cart concept. People that have known us in sausage for quite some time, and so we have people in Louisville. And so we might be able to set up something with him, because he already has a funnel to get meat and stuff through. So, yeah.
I want to plug a few of your products, if you don't mind here.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
I think your spices for the taco meat spicing.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable. Love those. They're fabulous. I think the ground beef, too, is kind of funny. You get regular ground beef from somewhere, and then you eat this, and stomach doesn't do any flip-flops. It's weird. It absolutely feels better when you eat it. And I've had zero issues with anything. And in fact, everything was kind of better than expected. And one of the surprises, I think I went on the site one time, there wasn't a whole lot of choices at the one point. So I got a bunch of these round steaks and the 7-bone thing. And I thought, I'll give these a try. Man, I found some recipes that I just hadn't done that in a long time. That 7-bone thing is absolutely killer.
So good.
Oh,
you like that?
She was like, yeah, and then we tried it. It was fabulous. It was really, really good.
You used the recipe from the site, didn't you?
I tried that, and then I got another one that had you put some red wine in it, and it was like a beef bourguignon type of thing. Oh my goodness, was that fantastic. And so really everything so far has been great, and when I've been able to get the steaks, they've been great. So I have zero complaints about anything there.
Yeah, and
for sure.
Yeah,
we like you too.
Oh, there's something so exciting about being a part of this, and you're such a good man, and we are just so happy to be able, we get excited to pull the meat out, and it's just, there's a special feeling about that. Really, there is. It's something special to know that you're a part of something that you created, that you take a stand, and we love that. So we appreciate you, friend.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Buying more than meat. That's it.
Thank you.
Hey, something you guys want to look up, I want you to check something out. Have you ever heard of the Senior Executive Services? How many?
Yeah, I know about the senior executives, but it's the spigot pouring sewage into the swamp.
That is the deep state. If you look that up, Senior executive services. It is a 1-over person
Yeah.
for every person in the government.
Yeah.
And so you come into a new role and there's this person that tells you how it's done. And if you really want to understand what the deep state is,
Yeah.
that's it.
The,
Senior executive services.
Almost all of the leadership comes through the senior executive service.
Yeah.
Comey and all of those guys, and they're all friends, and they all are
Yeah.
globalists. It's one of the reasons why we have so much corruption at the top. And I'm surprised Trump hasn't gotten rid of it yet. But it is one of these things. But no matter what happens, so long as we can start thinking about what we can own and what we can actually control within ourselves and within our own smaller communities, we will be able to protect ourselves against the follies of government. And that's really what this is about. The bottom line is, I like Trump. I like him. I don't love him, but I like him. And I like the fact that he respects individual freedom and loves America. I think he's a horrible communicator.
Yes.
But I mean, the thing is, I understand what he means. And I guess that's the bottom line of communication, isn't
Yeah,
it?
so he's not that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, like, for me, it's kind of an egoic thing. I think he just communicates to dumb people, or he has he has a dumbed down way of communicating. It's very effective.
Yeah, he does.
It's just dirty feeling. Like it's, I've learned that there's a power to words, and you can say something and make someone, it's like, let's say you take someone on a trip, right? You say, hi, welcome, come on in. I'm going to show you my neighborhood. And you can take them out the front door and the scenic route, oh, and this is the Waffle House and the gardens over here. Or you can take them through the alley just because it's like a couple of streets faster, And it's like Trump's like, back door we go. It's like,
yeah, really.
And so the thing is, it's just, I don't hold that against him. It's just my own preference. But even he has his own beauty to the way he communicates. But the point that I'm making is, I like Trump, and I completely support his position in terms of limited government, of separating the power or reducing the power of the federal government, of setting a standard for wealth and success and prosperity, setting that up for our nation. We need that. Obama really handicapped this country in terms of the victim mentality and setting the low standards. You didn't build that nonsense. So Trump is really doing a wonderful job about that. But this isn't about Trump either. This is about you and I. And the bottom line is, as much as Trump is a strong leader and is a great and charismatic leader, he will not always be in office. And you can take those same traits and give them to someone who hates our country and hates the Constitution. And if we don't learn how to be self-reliant, and if we don't learn what our actual rights are, he will victimize us. And he will destroy any dignity that we have. And as much as I love Trump, I cannot place my trust in Trump. I can't place my freedom on Trump's shoulders.
No, you can't. You can't do that for anyone. Yeah.
Right.
And the thing is,
about that.
Yes. And the thing is, I give my opinion and my thoughts a lot on Facebook. I use it as a diary in many ways. But the bottom line is, I do a lot in the real world. And what I do is always consistent with what I think. And the bottom line, I believe in freedom, and I don't believe in just wasting time talking about it, or possibly, what is it? Do you need something? You're just listening? Okay. I believe in exercising it.
She said, preach, Dada.
I believe in exercising. Our kids, we homeschool. We do our best. We're not perfect, but
that's awesome.
But we have awesome kids. And I believe that everyone should have the opportunity to know what that's like, or at least have the choice, So I'm not going to keep you guys forever. I'm a little over. I don't think I have.
All good. It's fun.
Please, I'm going to be talking again on Sunday and sharing this and pushing it out more. But share with your friends. Let them know that this exists. When we first did it, we had a deal where we saved like $12 or something like that. I need to look at the numbers again and see if it'll make sense, because I dropped a lot of the prices. And I'll let you guys know. I'll be in contact with everybody over the next couple of days about switching you over into the contract. But please let your friends know this is not one of these things where it just happens by itself. You know, I have a lot of other irons in the fire, and I'm relying on other people to share. Like, I'm gonna reach out and try to explain, but it has to happen because we make it happen, you know. And let me know if you let me know if you guys want anything. I've heard a couple people ask about chicken. I'm not really excited about that. We have a lady that she has a chicken operation, a very small one, and she does an amazing job. But she's actually processing this week. I should talk with her. But the thing with chickens is they're so small, and they require so much. They tend to be very expensive if they're raised naturally, and they're just small. You know, like, it's kind of like, it's hard for me to ask someone to pay $4.85 for grass-fed grass-finished ground beef, and then $12 for, you know, a pound for a chicken breast. You know, it's just And so I'll have to look at it and see if I can make that work.
Is it something you think you might be able to accomplish at a more economical scale when you have a larger operation, probably?
Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, just like everything, we're self-funding right now, and we need to build a base to justify putting
expanded
more in place for economies of scale.
Sure.
The one thing I don't want to do, and in terms of this business, we're kind of going to do it a little bit like for our other business, but I do not want, hey, what do you got? Is somebody in the kitchen? Okay. I started smelling bread. I was like, smell like it's burning.
Uh-oh.
Turn the fire down. Oh, that's Marcella. Never mind.
Burning the food.
What are you making? Oh, okay. So, and they're making noodles.
Right.
How about that for health food? College never far away. But so here's the thing. I don't want to actually get in a position where I'm so debt heavy, and because right now, even right now, my other business, not only am I being shadow banned, but I just got an email today that Google suspended my listing. And so like on maps, like, it won't pop up anymore. And so, like, it's these things about being a conservative. A lot of people don't realize, like, it's one thing if you're just talking, you know, chatting, but they try to bankrupt people like me. And so the thing is, the more that you do, the more you have to rely on marketing. And if you don't have a strong customer base, you can get over leveraged, and the whole thing could just fall apart. Like, for example, with Gab, you guys remember Gab? I have a Gab account, the social networking system. Great people, but they grew and grew and grew very quickly. And then they were actually, their processor, the deep state literally killed their processor.
Right,
so they couldn't process payments. When they worked around that, then the deep state pulled their social host. And so they literally were offline for a little while, just because they were fighting fighting for free speech. And so I always have to think about that. Like,
this is not the Gab phone, is it?
No. This is Gab, the social network.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so the thing is, they're up now and they're growing now, but there are other places like Parler and all these other things. But those Gab, they took a beating. They took like a Trump-like beating, and they were able to come back. But I'm just thinking about us and what we're doing. And my main objective is to succeed. I want to create an alternative to the industrial food system. That's why I went into this. It's not just about.
Yeah, I like it.
Like that. But in order to do that, we have to have a base. We have to have people that are willing to pay for and willing to actually use the services. Otherwise, it's just, it's just an ideological fantasy, and I can't participate in something like that. That's socialism. So there has to be a point where I'm actually providing a value for the market. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And I'm not yet at the place where I can fool myself and say that that's something that doesn't works, like Amazon, where they could lose money for 2 years and still have. But anyway, that's so any.
Well, we'll spread the word.
Thank you. And I will also see if I can give another discount, just for people to get going. But I can't promise anything. I have to look at the
Yeah,
numbers.
I don't need it. I'll buy it.
Hey,
I don't think another discount is necessary.
thank you. I don't think so either, but I'm really,
No,
really.
used car lot. This is good meat.
That's
Sell it for what it's worth, baby.
Yeah,
Thank
the
you.
fact that you're doing a $99 lifetime membership, there's no need to keep chipping away, because
Nope.
a lot of times
Good.
what'll happen is
You'll
people, they see something that's cheaper and then they think it's not as good of a quality.
Mhm.
Well, this stuff is great, and it's worth every nickel.
It's
easily.
not, you're not trying to replicate Omaha steaks.
No, but we will have aged meat.
That's fine, but you don't want to be putting
No,
a package of 10 things for $59,
No.
Yeah.
And so, but
Cool.
ultimately, we want to replicate Kroger and Giant Eagle, and we'll get up to that point. But again, we have to build our customers to that point. And so, however long that takes, we're going to be dedicated over the next year. We're going to be kind of moving out of the operations into to sharing the vision. And we're already kind of starting to do that now, to kind of build up the relationships we'll need in order to put the infrastructure up. And so it's really my honor to talk with you guys and to share my little part of the world and my vision. And I hope, honestly, John Stroud, I hope we can work with you too, like to help California.
Yeah, Tyrone, I love the idea and the concept. I would actually love to talk with you more. Another point about getting involved maybe on the sales and marketing side of things.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah, I'm from LA and my heart breaks. But I've been really encouraged watching the protests out there, man, the events. And I know you had a part in that, didn't you?
I'm one of the core promoters and organizers of the Beverly Hills Freedom Rally. So
bravo, my friend, bravo. Very good job. Very good job. And you've been an encouragement to Americans, patriots all across the country. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's why we're doing it. It's
a total shock, Florida, to see, because we moved from California almost 8 years ago to Florida.
God bless you.
There are so many things going on in California that were just like depressing and dejecting us, and then all of a sudden it was like, whoa, look at all these people in California standing up.
Yeah, it really caught fire. It's been really amazing, actually, what's happened. So
Absolutely.
you might not have heard this because the media loves to lie, but we had easily, between the last 2 Saturdays before the election, between those 2 weekends, we had over 7,000 people.
No, I saw them. It wasn't a matter of me. I saw them. Like I don't even watch Fox. I don't do the legacy media at all. And so but I have seen them. I saw aerials and on the ground footage, and
the numbers were just staggering. So
absolutely, and people never understand the work that goes into building something like that. Like how you start with 3 or 4, just like this. It starts with 4 or 5 people. Throwing money, throwing time, sweat into it, doing a vision or sharing a vision that no one else sees. And so you're right now at the beginning looking at it. And I can tell you, this thing will succeed, and it's going to grow very rapidly. And so I encourage you guys, let me know how I can make it better. If you guys have any questions, feel free to text me or call. It's probably easier to text, just because I'm getting, man, the Trump campaign is harassing me to death. I mean,
my goodness.
You too?
I was like, unsubscribe and call from other people. I was like,
my phone gets hot in the first hour in the morning. It's like, whoa, what is going on?
I was like, man.
I sent you a text message, Tyrone.
Okay. And so, I'll see you here in a minute.
I got one little comment too here. We sometimes we think we're just talking to the walls, or we're talking to people that, echo chamber. You got people in kind of your own way of thinking. But I have a niece, and I learned something about kind of something biblical too. When someone won't hear your message, you're supposed to shake the dust off your sandals and go to the next town, right? So you can sit there banging on someone's head for a while, and if it's not going anywhere, quit and try to find some different fertile ground. And I had a niece that really was sort of a, always voted Democrat, and she's about 30, she's 30 something now. And you never know what'll flip somebody, but we've been talking for a while, kind of respects me a bit, and for God knows what reason, but we talk, and I started talking about some bigger concepts with her. And then the funny thing is, what turned this girl was a trip to the shooting range. She was afraid I'm not lying to you. She was afraid of guns. We went to a shooting range for my birthday last year, and she went and bought an AR the next day. And it was, and this, like, literally the next day, she's like, I bought one. I'm like, holy cow. And and now all of a sudden she's really a bleeding red Trumper, and you never know, what's going to turn somebody. And if everybody does that, kind of one person at a time, you can make a difference.
Oh, yeah,
and they will start working on someone. And I've been trying to impose on her, a little more about the word, which she's kind of slipped out of, and a few other things. But you gotta care enough. You gotta be personal enough, and you can move some things, but you gotta take the time. It's not manipulation. It's trying to love on somebody, but you gotta pick the right substrate. A person's got to be willing to hear and listen, and have a bit of an open mind. And she told me some things last night. Said, I used to think you were kind of crazy conspiracy theorist, some of these things. And as you've kept this up and kept staying true to what you believe, I started looking into things, and all of a sudden, my God, you're right, And so you never know how it's like that slow drip of water, you keep pecking away.
I'll tell you
eventually you can turn someone.
I'll tell you what, I don't even look at it like that. And I hear you, absolutely. But the way I look at it, I don't look at people at all. Even when my Facebook, I write a lot, but it's mostly a journal for me where I chronologue, like kind of get an idea for what I was thinking at one time or the other. But I'm listening to God, man.
Right.
The bottom line is, the reason I'm reaching out is because God said it's time. There was a time I've had this idea and kind of concept for 2 years. And I saw something. We were out in the middle of New Mexico, and I saw what we were doing. Like, it was kind of like a large, I saw it, like, literally, I was in the middle of a field and thousands of cows everywhere. And my wife went to sleep, and she literally was told, it's not time. Wait until the government starts to collapse. Wait till it starts to collapse before you go. And then we were like, government collapse? That sounds terrible. God, what's going on? And so or wait till everything starts to collapse. And then, the government. And so then one day I was at work. I was working at Golden Corral. And I came around a corner, and God literally spoke to me and said, find the Amish farmer. See, a lot of people, like, they think I'm just, like, when I'm tired, I'm profound and everything. There's a lot behind me. I don't play with people or play spirituality. I'll curse you out and hit you over the head with a second. Then I'll pray for you as well. I mean, I'll knock you out and then pray that God revives you. That's just my personality. I could care less what you think. But the thing is, my relationship with God is sacred, and it's seasoned. And I could tell you, one day I'll talk about that, like what Marcella and I went through and how we grew spiritually together. We kind of got caught up in some stuff. But the point is this: God spoke to me and told me to find the Amish farmer. I didn't know anybody Amish, didn't know anything about Amish, nothing. And so I just started talking about it, and eventually I found the Amish farmer. He's the person raising our beef. And but I didn't start looking until I was told it was time to. It is kind of just like I'm learning that there is a divine, this is the point I'm getting to. All that to make a long story short. The people who I need to find, they will come. I don't have any doubt. I'm already certain of that. And there's no way that I can miss the people that I'm supposed to find. So even in that, there's a great ease in what we're doing. And I just simply do the work and say what I need to say, or say what needs to be said. And I encourage all of you guys, trust God in the process. Like if he can take someone like me out of the middle of South Central LA and drop them off in Tennessee and then throw them in an alley somewhere in Ohio and take that person who's washing dishes to start an entire food system. I mean, dude, he can do anything with anybody.
Right.
The key is we've just got to
Absolutely
get to
true.
the place where we start to trust God and believe God. It doesn't mean like that you got to go lay on top of the Bible and wait for osmosis. But if you start talking to God, I mean, start talking to God and trust that there is something there that has your best in mind, that has a plan for your life, that has created you as a part of a divine purpose. That is very real. And if you really get honest with yourself and start asking God to show you and to teach you and to direct you, he will. He will. I am a living absolute witness, you know? And so I would just encourage everyone to start that. If you pray or you're a Christian or you're not, take time and just ask God, what am I here for? You know? Can you give me some direction? I had to the last couple of days. It took a day or two for peace to come over me about this election thing, but it did come. You know, I was mad as hell just like everybody else. And the problem is when I get mad, I actually get active. I'm not one of these yelling at the TV people. I'm the kind of walk outside and start making stuff people, you know, like how to mix a bomb, you know. But,
truth bomb.
But the point is, if you ask God to help you, he will. And so, yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Cool.
All right. So, yeah,
Nice.
let's join if you guys have any questions. If anybody you know might be interested, share. We have meetings at Thursday at 7. Feel free to jump on if you just want to hear something encouraging, or if you're trying to start a business or get anywhere in that. Let us share what we've learned, see if we can help. We'd always know a shortcut around something. And and I thank you guys for joining me.
It was fun. I'm glad you did this.
For having us.
Oh, thanks.
Nice to meet everybody.
Likewise. Great to meet all you guys.
Absolutely.
You too.
All right. Good night.
All right. Good night.
Bye, guys.
Good night. Did you have something on your mind, John? John S. Strand.
All right.
John Strand. Gosh, yeah. I have a lot on my mind, which is the typical state of things for me.
Oh, okay.
But I got to process it.
Yeah.
I got to process it. I think I might actually have some folks trying to get together. I need to find out if that's happening or not. But there are some folks in the Beverly Hills Freedom Movement that's happening that might be collecting either tonight and or tomorrow. We have our regularly scheduled Saturday meeting that's definitely happening.
Okay.
But the obviously the country is still in flux right now. Everything's not quite settled in yet. So
no,
this is a really critical time.
It is. And I mean, if you're a praying person, man, that's the thing. There's a great power in having your feet in the right place. Mm-hmm. And like if you come, everything is energetic. It has a frequency, and the frequency of peace and surety is very different from the frequency of anxiety or fear. And the thing is, if it is always best to find the peaceful place before you move. If you can't, I know sometimes, like even the last couple days, I've been angry. That's really, and it's funny, I've been angry not so much. I've been angry at Trump. I mean, honestly, because like there's a lot of things that I saw that he could have done very differently. But I had to remind myself, you know, I don't know what he knows.
That's right.
And the thing is, it's not my job to do what he does. And so, but it took a while for me to even settle with that idea. Because my thing is, dude, if you would have declassed this information, we could have helped you. You know, I would rather fight and have the country plunged into chaos over truth than fighting over a fraudulent election, you know, that nobody admits is fraudulent. You know, it's just, so anyway, but it took me a while to settle down about that. But ultimately, again, find peace. Even if you can't find peace about it, find calm, because the thing is, God will speak to you and he'll show you kind of what the next steps are. We do need to organize and we do need to make our voice heard, but we need to come from a place of surety. And I was going to say this earlier, like I'm not trying to turn anybody to conservatism or turn anybody toward Trump. I'm trying to help people to see freedom, and I want to feed people. I mean, for me, Democrats, as nuts as they are, they still have families. They have children that don't know, and we can't condemn them to starve.
Well,
And
one thing I've been saying a lot lately is, and I'll keep saying this, is that it's really important for us to remember that people are not the enemy. It's lies that are the enemy.
Right.
And so the thing is,
That's
everybody
true.
is operating from their own limited experience. And if we can give them an experience of what conservatives are, because I know many that have never really met them, never met outed conservatives. I had one guy that we were talking to, like, he said he never met a black conservative. I went over his house, sat down, brought him some vegan hot dogs, and we talked for a while. But the thing is, people know love. They know genuine concern.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, no matter what happens, we're going to have to live with these people. If we can't kill them and dump all their bodies off the cliff, we have to live with them. Sometimes I've thought about it. What is the...
I got enough ammo. I can maybe knock this out. I've been zeroing in on the squirrels here lately. I'm pretty good shot.
It's like, if we poisoned the tofu. No, no, but the thing is, we have to figure out how to live with them. And I know it's not even just the bottom line. A lot of people, they have honestly failed as parents. They failed in some aspect of parenting, and they have children that are running around thinking they're socialists.
That's more people than not, Tyrone. That's more
I know. And the thing is, I can only tell you what my experience is, and I can tell you, hey,
hi, honey.
Hi.
It hasn't been easy. The decisions we've had to make, we've made, and I know many people would not make them. I mean, we're not all alike, but the bottom line is, I wouldn't condemn anyone to starve, and no one deserves food that has been chemically altered and tainted to literally suspend thought. We are in biological warfare, and
absolutely.
And the thing is, we need to not just talk about these things, not even just protest. We need to build infrastructure. And that's what we're here to do. And like, we get in on a protest, we door knock, and we canvass when we can, we call when we can. But the thing is, we're trying to build infrastructure to feed folks. And that's as important, but nobody talks about it.
No, you're totally right. I couldn't be more excited and impressed by what you're doing and why and how you are doing it, Tyrone. So I already had a sense that was the case, and that's why I wanted to hop on this call.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, but I really want to first just encourage you and admonish you with the truth of how important it is, what it is that you're doing. And obviously you already know this and you have the courage and commitment, but it is going to take a lot of courage and commitment to continue the fight and see it through. So please keep doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And for me personally, I mentioned a couple things when we talked earlier about the shipping depot idea, but I'm in a very sort of interesting and odd sort of juncture in my life personally.
It's okay.
So that's just the honest truth of where I'm at. But also, I definitely think God's moving in the country and he's moving in my life, and he's got a very important purpose for me, and I'm trying to figure out what that is and how to seek his face and steward the talents that he gave me to the best, the best of my ability. So
absolutely. And I mean, dude, I'll tell you this: if you ran across us, what I've found is God gives you shadows of things. Like, for example, if you look at get up in the morning, and before the sun comes up, there's always a shadow of the sun coming up, or a precursor. You see the kind of light preceding the sun. Life is like that as well. Like, whenever you're moving toward either an advancement or a backwards movement in your life, you'll always run across shadows of yourself. So it's like, or at least this has been my experience, whenever we're reaching a big spiritual breakthrough or a spiritual process or a financial process or anything, or a limitation, whenever we're about to cross over, we start seeing ourselves in the future and the past. So Marcella and I will run across, it's often like this. We'll run across a chocolate guy and a light-skinned girl with 4 kids, and they're like traveling all the time. They're doing what we're moving toward, and they're joyous. And then we'll also run into like our previous selves with same chocolate, light-skinned guy, 4 kids, and they're struggling, but they have faith, and so we choose and we often talk to both of them and encourage both of them, but we break through that. And so I say that because if you're looking at us, I cannot even explain to you like how many expectations that we break by our existence. The way we live, the way we school, the way we travel, the way we do business, everything is non-conventional. And our life is an example that anything could be done from anywhere. And that, if you're seeing us, the point that I'm making is, if you're seeing us, God is already showing you that it's possible. The dreams that you have, he's saying, hey, look, you need more encouragement. You need more hope. Look at that little chocolate guy. The thing is, look at that. Look at this. I mean, we have folks, Rose, and people you were on the call with. You'd be surprised at some of the things that they have accomplished personally, from little and next to nothing. And I've had a chance to hear some of their stories and to visit many of them. And I'm telling you, John, have faith. And more importantly, keep the vision before you. Write the vision, make it plain. And then most importantly, trust that God is already manifesting it. And you have my permission to use me as an example. I'm not pretty, but Mark, put my face on your mind that it is possible. Absolutely possible.
I appreciate that a lot, Tyrone. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I'm gonna get off of here.
I got to rock on. Good night, gents. It was fun.
Yeah, great to
times.
chat. See you guys soon.
All right, take care.
Peace out, man.
And if
Bye.
you need anything, either one of you guys, send me a text.
I'm gonna order.
We'll do.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Let me stop this recording. Hold on a second, Jacqueline. Stop share. As many of these things as I've been on, I